So today, lads, we're going to be doing a tier list of WNBA players. Me ranking 74 of the, 144 players. We got roughly half, and these are just players that I've watched enough that I can not confidently rank them, but I've watched them play multiple times, and I have some sort of an idea of where I want to rank them. And it's purely going to be based on this season. For example, all WNBA should not be above MVP. But basically, the example I'm going to give is I'm only going to be judging Satu off what I saw in the Olympics. Satu was all WNBA first team last year. But I'm only going to be judging what I'm projecting for this season. So, we have right here all of these players. First player, Diana Taurasi. At this point in her career, she's a borderline all-star. She is a borderline all-star. The almost stars tier is for borderline all-star players. Obviously, all-stars, all-star level players. Like, there might be people that didn't make all-stars that are in here. There's going to be more than 10 players in these two tiers. It's just the level of player that they are at this point in time. Again, I'm not judging based on what they've done in previous years. I'm going to put Taurasi into an almost star category. I think that, yeah, she's not top 24 players. Probably top 35 players. I'm going to put Stewie in the MVP category. Like, there could be another category where I'm going to do this just to show what this category is all about. Like, look, this is AJ Wilson's category, but as far as MVP, like, she isn't having an MVP season, but she is an MVP level player. So, yeah, I'm going to have probably 4 people in this tier. I think she's that good. John Quell. He's in the all-NBA tier, all-WNBA tier. Top 10, definitely. Or top 12, definitely. No question about it. Kat Copper is also in that all-WNBA tier. She's someone that you could argue if she was on a better team, she'd be in that MVP conversation with how she's playing. Demi's solid. I think we almost, to an extent, over-romanticize how good Temi Fagbenle is, purely because of the fact that Temi Fagbenle is a perfect fit with Caitlin Clark. Temi Fagbenle is not an borderline all-star level player. She's a solid player. She's a solid starter. And she's a solid starter level player. And I do think she's better than an Alyssa Smith, especially for this team. You know what? Lindsay Allen has actually had some good games. I'll put her in solid bench player. She's one of the worst starters in the WNBA. But that's only because her team doesn't have a point guard. I'll put her in solid bench players. Kelsey Plum. Yeah, I'm still going to say she's an all-star. I think if Team USA didn't exist, she'd be on the all-star team. She's that level player. Alicia Gray, she's an all-star as well. She made the all-star team. She's pretty good. Walker Kimbrough, elite bench player. And, like, she's more than a just solid bench player. By solid bench player, that's what we're talking about as, like, Kate Martin level player. But no, Walker Kimbrough is one of the, like, best. She might win 6th player of the year. She's one of the best bench players in the W. Brittany Sykes. Now, there needs to be a category where it's like, I'm guessing. Because she was good. In every game she's played, she's been good. I'm just not going to rank her. Because you're going to see who's in the no comment tier. I'm just not going to rank Brittany Sykes. Because she just hasn't played enough. And by enough, she's only played like 2 games. Bree Jones, all-star. No question about it. I think Carly Samuelson, again, she's someone that's not a good starter. She's the better Samuelson. She's been the better Samuelson this year. She's been better than her number 1 recruit sister. Carly Samuelson's been good. She can play a little bit of defense. She can shoot. She's solid. She was a solid star. She's better than Lindsay Allen. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Ariel Atkins all-star, how she make the all-star team is beyond me this year. I think if it was a real all-star where they pick 2 full all-star teams, she makes it. Jordan Canada, solid. She's been a solid point guard when she's played. Again, she hasn't played that much for Atlanta. She's been injured a lot of the year. But I'll go solid for Jordan Canada. I know she made the all-star team, but I'm going almost star for Kelsey Mitchell. You can't tell me that Ariel Atkins, like, Kelsey Mitchell's better than Ariel Atkins. There's just no way. Even if you only watched the Fever versus the Mystics games, you cannot come out of those games thinking anyone. By the way, Ariel Atkins The Mystics have played the Fever twice. Ariel Atkins has been one of the two best players, or they played him 3 times. She's been one of the 2 best players on the floor all 3 times for either teams. I've seen Ariel Atkins carry her team to wins by herself. The team just don't have enough wins. I'm putting Kelsey. I think Kelsey Mitchell's in that Taurasi tier. She's good. She might be top of this tier, and there's a chance that I can move Kelsey Mitchell up. And she's just a one-dimensional scorer. It isn't good enough at scoring. Azura Stevens, I'm putting in almost star. I think she's been really good. Been really, really good. And no comment. No comment. The MVP. Who's going to be unanimous MVP? Aja Wilson, obviously. Sabrina Ionescu is also going in this tier. I think based on this season, how many player of the month she's won. Like if I'm putting Stewie up there, I'm putting Sabrina because Sabrina's number 2 in the MVP race right now. The MVP race right now for me is you got Aja, you got Stewie, you got Fee Collier. Then you're probably looking at probably 4th. The only other person that could even... Like, the only way Aja loses MVP is if she gets injured. If she gets injured, it's between Sabrina and Fee, and the only other player that could potentially get into that conversation is if Indiana go on a run, it's Caitlin Clark. Otherwise, not really. I know she's a starter, but I'm not putting Katie Lou above Carly Samuelson. Carly's been much better this season. Obviously, she's injured, but she was better when she played. McCowan, solid. She's huge. She's a 6'7" center. Should be better than she is. She's solid. Arike, all-star. And I'm not listening to... I genuinely... When people were like, how is Arike 13? She should be top 5. Tell me you've only watched the All-Star game in highlights without telling me you've only watched the All-Star game in highlights. Arike is shooting 36% from the field. Arike shoots 7 more times... Or is it 7 more times? She shoots 7 more times than Caitlin Clark and averages like 4 more points a game. Like, she almost averages as many shots as points. Whereas people are talking about how inefficient Caitlin Clark is. She averages 17.5 on 13 shots a game. So, like, Arike has not shot above 50% in a game this year. And I mean that. She's not shot above 50% in a game. She's an all-star because her hands are quick. She's a good defender. But there is no scenario that she's in the top 13 players. I'll go solid for Sophie Cunningham. I think Sophie Cunningham, again, solid starter, great bench player, level player. Fee Collier is the last person I'm putting into that MVP tier. I'll go solid bench player for Megan Gustafson. I would much I'm kind of hovering here, mainly just due to some bias from the Olympics. I'm a big fan of Megan Gustafson, but I will say solid bench player because that's all she's been at Vegas. Ezzy Magbegor, all-star. How she wasn't an all-star, I'm guessing just because she's Australian, is beyond me. Marina Mabry, almost star. I think through the first 10 games of the season when she was through the first 10 games, she was definitely... Like, the Chicago Sky have had, like, 2 different spells. They had their first couple of games where it was, we run every single thing through Marina Mabry, and she was averaging, like, 70 in a game, and the team looked okay. And then they had their, like, spell in the middle where they just sucked. It didn't matter who they ran through, whether it be Carter, Reese, or Mabry, they were just losing every game. And now they're in the spell. They went into a stage of, screw me, Marina Mabry, she's barely touching the ball. We're running through Kennedy Carter and letting Angel, Reese, and Cardoso clean up all the scraps and play their game, and they've been looking good. They looked better. They looked good at the start of the year running through her, and they've looked good with her not touching the ball. So I will put her in almost star. Alana Smith's borderline all-star. Alana Smith's very, very good. Bridget Carlton, solid. Very, very solid player. Again, it's really hard to judge the links. Obviously, Alana Smith, no question about it. You could maybe move Alana Smith up to here, to be honest. But it is hard to judge the links players because just really got an offense. Ooh, that's all I can say. I really like Dejanay Carrington as a player. Like, people are like, oh, she has no offense. She's averaging 13 points a game. She's averaging 13, 5 rebounds on a team that shares the rock well and is the best perimeter defender in the W. I'm putting Dejanay Carrington as an all-star level player. Ty Harris, solid starter. She might start and maybe might come off the bench. Phoebich, almost star. And I think the reason why I say this is I know she's averaging 5 points a game. I think she's so good. I think Phoebich is so freaking good at basketball. Like, she's just on a stacked Liberty team. Satu, I'm judging based on Olympics and what I'm expecting Satu to be the rest of the year. I think Fibic was better than Satu for Germany. I think she was. Satu's not in shape. And I'm sorry, I could be very wrong with this. Because again, Satu was all WNBA first team last year. I'm only judging on the next 14 games. I'm not judging based on next season. If you ask me to rank players for next season, I'm probably putting Satu in my top 10. But Satu's not in shape right now. She's not in shape, and we saw for Aaliyah Boston, who's one of the best bigs in the league, it took her 10 games to get back in shape. It's going to take 10 games for Satu to get back in shape. I know she played in the Olympics. She was very out of shape there. It's going to take her 10 games to play her way back into shape, and by then, she's just going to be prepping for her season next year or wherever she goes in Europe. Kennedy Carter, all WNBA. Kennedy Carter's so good. She's so good. Dana Evans, no comment. Anya Nwere, solid bench player. I know she's now a starter, but if you can find, like, she's a starter by default. Ryan Howard, all-star. Ryan Howard's a super, super player. Nalissa Smith, she's a one-dimensional scorer who right now isn't scoring very well. But I also think there are certain teams that if you can put her on, she looks like an all-star. I'll put her in solid. I think Indiana's a terrible fit for her, but I do think she's going to be an all-star at least once in her career, just not in Indiana, especially with the way Indiana are playing right now. Shakira Austin, borderline all-star. Like, hasn't played at all this year. You know what? I'm going to put her in the category of down there with Sykes. No idea. Lexi Hull's a solid bench player. Jade Melbourne, I really like Jade Melbourne. Aaliyah Boston, all-star. No question about it. All-star, but by 2 years from now, we could be talking about it. Probably not in MVP category, but in all WNBA category. No, she's an all-star at this point. Jordan Horston, solid, but just like, I should have like, could be, or a future star category, where I would have like Jordan Horston, Jade Melbourne. And it's the same thing where it's like Rickea Jackson. Rickea Jackson's not close to being an all-star right now, but she's also got more potential than a lot of these players. Maddie Seegers, almost star. 15 points per game in year 2. You can't not put her in this tier. Julie Van Loo. Yeah, let's go solid. I think she looked better for Belgium than she has for Washington, but in any individual game she can go off. Caitlin Clark, all WNBA. She's not quite broke into this top category yet, but I think she's in this category right here in all WNBA. Cameron Brink. I'm sorry, but like, Cameron Brink was performing at a solid level. Like, again, this is someone in the future star category. But like, Cameron Brink was not playing as well as people thought she was. She would have one game where she'd have 20 and then would have 2 the next 2 games. I know she's a shot blocker. I know she affects things on defense, but she was getting benched at times for Leroux. Like, Cameron Brink is not at a borderline. She's not as good as any of these players, in my opinion. She's not as good as Azura Stevens right now. Again, there should be a future stars category that I didn't have in here. And I don't know where to put it. But Cameron Brink, if all goes well, she could be a superstar. If it doesn't, I don't know. I don't know where it should be. Then we have got Rickea Jackson. Again, at this point in time, she's not quite in that like almost star category, but she's someone that will be probably as soon as next year. And it's the exact same with Camila Cardoso. I have a feeling that her best years are not going to be in Chicago. I don't think that little and large partnership works, and I don't think it works well for either of them. So not even little and large, the Twin Tower partnership works. If I was if I was the Sky, I would probably be looking at finding a stretch big to play beside Angel Reese, because Angel Reese on defense, she's best guarding these perimeter fours, but on offense, she's best inside by herself. I would have her playing the 5 on offense and the 4 on defense. I think it's what's going to get you the best at Angel Reese, who I'm going to also put in the all-star category. No question about it. She's an all-star. JC Sheldon, again, goes into that. I think in the future, JC Sheldon's going to be really good. I think her improvement during the year has been very, very solid. But, yeah, so I'll put her in the solid category. Kate Martin, solid bench player. Like, Carly Samuelson is better than JC Sheldon. Let me just put Carly Samuelson in there. DeWanna Bonner, all-star. No question about it. She's been an all-star this year. Tina Charles. At this point in her career, Tina Charles is solid. At this point in her career, Vandersloot is solid. That's all I'm going to say. Like, at this point, she's completely solid. All WNBA for Nneka. Does she make where she makes her or not? I don't know, but Nneka Onwumike is definitely in that conversation. Who? Who's this? Like, someone for the Sun. Did I accidentally put... No, Ty Harris is Ty Harris. Who's this? Oh, is that Tiffany Hayes? Is that Tiffany Hayes? I think it's Tiffany Hayes. Yeah, like... I think it's Tiffany Hayes. I'm sorry, some of these pictures are... Like, it's really, really small, and I've got really, really bad eyesight. So I think that's Tiffany Hayes. Yeah, it's Tiffany Hayes. Tiffany Hayes, solid. She's a really good bench player. Griner, all-star. At this point in her career, not quite all WNBA, but one of the better players in this all-star category. Skylar Diggins-Smith, at this point in her career, almost star. But I think you could argue all-star. Odyssey Sims, all-star. Odyssey Sims is the best player on the Dallas Wings once she started playing, and that includes Arike Gamboale. If I got Arike in here, I got to put Odyssey Sims in here. Kayla McBride, all WNBA. Yeah, I've gone that far with Kayla McBride. I think she's superb. I think she's absolutely superb as a player. I'm going to go that high with her. Alyssa Thomas, not in the MVP shouts this year, but all WNBA. So we've got, what, 7 players? Or, like, not 7 players. We've got, I know you can only have 10, but we've got so far 11 here. There might be 1 or 2 more in this category. We've got Natasha Howard, borderline all-star level player. Again, good player for the Wings. I think it's Natasha Howard. Chelsea Gray, solid. Like, she's a fine starter. Like, she is a fine starter in the way that Courtney Vandersloot is a fine starter right now. Like, again, if she gets healthy, which I don't think she will this season, Chelsea Gray goes up all of these categories. But at this point in time, Chelsea Gray is... No. Like, she's just not. Beck Allen, solid. Between solid and solid bench. Like, I don't want to put future star in solid bench category. Oh, move Jane Melbourne down. I like JC Sheldon, though. So I'm going to keep her in that tier. Jewel Lloyd. She's been terrible this year. But I'll put her in the end of the All-Star category. I think she's been terrible this year. She's been the 4th best player on her team at times. Like, anytime I've watched the Storm, Skylar Diggins-Smith has been better than Jewel Lloyd. Like, she's averaging 20 a game, but doing it on an effective field goal percentage of 38. Then we have got Elizabeth Williams. I really like Elizabeth Williams. Like, I think that her going down was one of the horrible things for the Sky, because I think the best 4-5 combo they had was Elizabeth Williams injuries. I think that's the best 4-5 combo Chicago have had all year. I think she was brilliant this year. Parker Tyus, or is that Hines Allen? Parker Tyus, I think. Solid. Like, same, like Aaliyah Edwards going this tier as well. I just forgot to put her on the list. Dereka Hamby, all-star. She's not all WNBA. She's just not. She's been good. She's had as many bad games. She's had good games, though. Then we have got Kia Stokes. I know she starts. She's a solid bench player. Izzy Harrison, solid bench player. Tash Cloud should have been on Team USA, but I'll go all-star. Almost star. Oh, I'm so torn on Kelsey Mitchell. I think because she actually made the all-star team, I can't bring her lower than that. Benijah Laney Hamilton, maybe the best in almost star. She is, for me, basically Dejanay Carrington, except I think Carrington's slightly better. Yeah. No comment on max contract. So these are my tiers. I've definitely forgotten some players, and I'm definitely, again, these two have been injured, so I don't really want to put them anywhere. I'd say my most controversial ones are, if you ask me for controversy, it's Satu and Almost Star, but I was not impressed by Satu at the Olympics. She had that one great game against Japan, but everyone played well against Japan. But I do think that coming into next season, we're going to be looking at Satu in this category. I just think for the rest of the season, I think we're going to be seeing Satu trying to play her way into shape. I think people are going to go crazy about this one, but it's obvious. Like, the fact is that this is probably the tier she belongs in, even though people are going to be going berserk that she's not down here, and others are going to go berserk she's not here. She's not at this level right now, but Caitlin Clark will be there. Trying to think who else. I really am not the biggest fan of Jewel Lloyd. I personally would have Jewel Lloyd down here and Skylar Diggins up 1. I think Odyssey Sims has been so good. I know she was cut. She was so good for Dallas that if Enrique is an all-star, Odyssey Sims is in the all-star category. And there's a few players like Cameron Brink, JC Sheldon, Jade Melbourne that I'm like, if there was a future stars or next up category, I'd put them in. But yeah, I'm happy enough with this tier list. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.